All right, so it's a few days later. We made a video a couple days ago on lifting this thing. So now the lift is fully installed. Right now he's working on getting the transfer case drop on. And I mentioned that in the other video that we were gonna put 35s on it, but we weren't able to get the tires. We had to order them. So now it's a few days later and we finally got the tires in. So I'll show you those real quick and then I'll show you what we're gonna do to fit those tires on there. So here we have a set of 35, 12.5, 15 Maxxis Razor MTs. And they're a lot bigger than what was on there before. And generally you want a little bit bigger of a lift to fit a 35 on a Cherokee, but we're gonna make it work. So right now, I'm gonna be working on cutting the fenders. And we're gonna do the cut and fold technique because that pinch weld right there, you don't wanna cut through those. So you wanna avoid those and then fold it under. So I've already started on the front fender. Walk over there real quick. So you can see, you basically just cut these little slots and then they bend pretty easily, but then you bend them over and then you just kind of clean them up with a hammer. You don't have to do this on the front. You can just buzz along this body line with a saw, but I like to fold them over just because it gives a smoother edge and it won't cut your tire. And plus we're going to be covering this with a fender flare in the future, kind of like the ones that are on my black Jeep sitting out there. So with all that being said, I'll set a time lapse up and we'll get to cutting them. Oh yeah, and one more thing while you're cutting your little slots there, make sure you have a buddy down there laying right in your sparks.
Yeah.
All right, so when you're done, it should look something like this. Granted, the paint will chip, so a lot of the times what I do whenever I do this is I'll just tape right here at this upper body line, and then I'll just shoot that with paint. In this case, we're probably just gonna do black so that it matches the bottom down here. And it's not gonna matter really. So we're gonna be covering this with the fender flare, and the fender flare will come up to about here and then follow all the way down. But we do wanna put something on that just so that it does not rust. All right, so now I'm gonna buzz off the other side, but we'll just speed through that real quick. So now I got the passenger side done on the front. So now we're gonna move on to the back. This is where I'll make the cuts and then I'll show you where these pinch welds are. Actually, I'll show you before. There's one right there, and then they kind of just go over about, I don't know, every 2 or 3 inches or so. But you do not want to cut those. So you want to leave those right where the groove is. Alright, so it ended up getting a little late, so we just went ahead and decided to finish it up. But you pretty much just do the exact same thing on each side. There's no real difference other than that driver's side left. There's the washer bottle up there, but you shouldn't get close to that where you're cutting. That's more of like for when you put the fender flares on. So we're just putting the wheels and tires back on, so I'll show you what that looks like and how they fit, and that's about it. So here's the final fit of the 35, 12.5, 15 on this Jeep that has overall about a 5-inch lift. So we might rub in a couple areas. We may have to come back in here and do a little more modification, but overall turned out pretty sweet. We still gotta tape these off and paint those so that they don't rust, but that's pretty much what you're gonna end up with. Here's the back. Kind of see, just hammer those little folds over. And we're gonna have to figure out something with this back bumper. That's pretty much what you should end up with when you're done on the underside. So that's it for today's video. If you liked it, please be sure to like and subscribe. And there you go, just torquing the wheels.
Yeah, if anyone knows what 182 Newton meters is, comment below.